right. Hello. Hey, women inspiring women into action. I am Tara Omatosho, and this is Inspired into Action. And today we have two trailblazers. I'm excited to interview these women. These women are the owners of Mortell Industries. We have Jamie Morton and Ebony. Oh, Ebony, I forgot your last name. Terrell. Mortell Industries. Mortell Industries. How are you guys doing this evening?
We're awesome.
We're wonderful. Glad to be here. Glad to be able to share our information with wonderful, inspiring business women.
Yes, I'm so glad that you guys were able to take this time out to share with the women and the listeners about your business and who you are. So one at a time, introduce yourselves, tell us about yourselves and about your business.
So my name is Jamie Moore, and I'm one of the co-owners of Mortell Industries. And Mortell Industries, what that is that we have a luxury laboratory porta potty company.
I'm Ebony Terrell. I'm co-CEO of Mortell Industries. Jamie is my partner. We work well together. We are building our brand. We're building our company to become one of the world's largest 100% woman-owned portable restroom services, and eventually venture out into some other avenues. That's why we chose the name Mortell Industries, so that eventually we understand that we want to become more than just
so we can stand out. It's not just about porta potties. It's really about providing a service. So our business is based on providing the best customer service, providing or exceeding the customer's needs, and making sure each customer feels that personal, intimate relationship with us. So that is our goal and where we are in our business. So we provide a service and not necessarily just porta potties.
Yeah, exactly. It's an experience.
Absolutely.
It's very different than other experiences, and that's the feedback that we get from our customers and clients.
Okay. So what made you guys start this business?
So it's weird because we both wanted to do something to make some extra cash, but we tried to find something that supposedly was supposed to be self-ran. We wouldn't have to do anything but just buy porta potties and let them go. Well, that was really surprising. When we got into business, we realized we put more work into this than we do our own real life full-time jobs. So when we got in it, we just bought a porta potty and we were like, okay, well, what do we do next? So
we bought one. We figured if we buy one, we have to do it. That was the only way we're going to do it. So we bought one and actually went straight to work.
The day that it was delivered, the next day was off to work. But what we didn't realize is that we need a solution for the toilet, which is one thing we did not in factor. So we were like, okay, well, how are we going to get blue? So we had to find out how to get a solution for the toilet. And then on top of that, we had a sink in all of our bathrooms and units. We offer sinks, and most of them are flushable.
And have solar lights.
And they have solar lights. So what we had a sink, but we didn't know how to fill the sink to put the water in. So we were like, okay, there was a lot of things that we learned about being in this business that we really just thought would be really easy to us, but it absolutely was not.
But all the hard work, and when I say hard work, like laborers work, we're out here moving. I'm driving, rider trucks.
We're driving 26-footer trucks.
Trailers. We've learned to dig deep and do things that we ordinarily wouldn't even think that we would be doing to run our business. And it's hard most of the time. It's been times we've been in this car with tears in our eyes, so sleep, literally about to cry. We're missing our families. Mm-hmm. But we look at each other, and one of us be like, look, we just got to go. 30 more minutes, a half an hour. And we just push each other. And, it's hard, but at the end of the day, we laugh about it the next day. And we just keep it moving.
Yeah.
That's so important. And you guys push each other. Tell me more about your families and your family makeup and how that works out and what your families think about your business.
Well, so because it's just me and my son. So my son literally just got a really good look at our business during Broccoli City Festival. He didn't realize the work that we put in. So we actually had our kids working. So my son, he sees me away from home all the time, sometimes 24 to 48 hours a day. And he's like, Mom, like, what are you doing? You're not working. He's thinking I'm just out like playing around. But when he came to Broccoli City Festival, he was like, Mom, you like really do work. It's different with Ebony. She has a husband.
A husband and 3 children, 2 in college and an 8-year-old. I'm still kind of a very hands-on mom, even with my kids in college. So I have a lot on my plate every day. Like, it's always something. I have a long to-do list of things. Yeah. But, I mean, in the past, I will say I have let my family come before other business ventures that I've tried. But I think this time, because we put in the hard work, because I know that I'm dedicating myself to something that's going to be beneficial for them in the long run. And I'm starting to learn that I need to make them a part of it so that they do understand. And when they see me not there, like Jamie said, when I'm not there, they understand that mommy's working. My husband, on the other hand, it could be a little difficult because you have a husband, he works really hard. And he's like, you have a full-time job, you make good money at that job. Like, kind of, why are you doing this? But you have to have that conversation like this because this is something that I need to do for myself or want to do for myself. And I enjoy doing it at the end of the day. So, I mean, you have your days, but at the end of the day, I just have to keep putting me first now, and not in a selfish way, but just remember what the things that I want to do are just important, the things that I want for my family too.
Well, and kids also had the opportunity to work with us at Broccoli City Festival, and they were also amazed at the fact that we really do work. Like, they hear us talk about it all the time, but for them to actually see us do it was like, oh wow! Like my mother. We
actually heard them say it. They was like, "Oh my
God, I can't. How do you guys do this? Like, I don't know if I can do this every day."
Right, but it's like that hard work pays off, and you're setting a legacy before them. You are, like I said in the beginning, you guys are really blazing the trail for this industry, so to speak. If there was a young girl or a young woman out there, or even a woman that's our age that wanted to do something like this, you guys are really setting the tone and coming up with the blueprint on how to and what not to do and what to do. We talked a little bit about that earlier, like some things that you learned, but you guys have been in the business how long?
So we've been in business since July 2017, so not even quite a year, and we've grown. I mean, when I say grown, I mean tremendously grown from having one contract, and when I say one contract, just being down on a football field, to being able to meet our 5-year goal, which was obtaining the MS Foundation Walk in the DMV area. So we were able to obtain that contract. After that, everything else just kind of.
We've been busy ever since.
Yes, it's been amazing. We did March for Lives. We partnered with one of our mentors for March for Lives, March 24th walk. We also we also did Broccoli City Festival. We've done Police Tent Week was just last week. We're all of police. I mean, all the way from Germany. I mean, out in Europe. A lot of the armed forces came into town and they did a lot of different little activities around the city. We picked up from that. We actually picked up a contract with U.S. Capitol Police. The U.S. Capitol Police officer called me the next day and he was like, oh my God. I mean, that was the best porta potty experience I've ever had in my life. And I've been in numerous of porta potties. He said, listen, if you ever need anything from me, and I promise you, he said, lock my number in, call me anytime. And that made me feel good because it was like, and not telling you the story of how we got the porta potty down there. We literally were, working on no gas. When I say no gas, we had been up for 48 hours at this time.
Oh my goodness.
We couldn't start our waste tank. So we had to figure out how to drain our toilet and get it down to the U.S. Capitol by 6 a.m. and be to work Monday morning by 9 a.m. So,
oh my gosh.
For him to say that after knowing what we went through, to just get 2
wow. That was like the cherry on top of the sundae.
Yeah, that was the appreciation of, I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So we've been
Wow.
gaining a lot of festivals here in the DC area, all because one, our services has been phenomenal. Two, we have some of the best, if not the best, porta potties in town, and we offer something different than the others offer in the area.
Okay. So that's basically when you're going in the doors or well, let me ask you, let me step back. How are people knowing about you? How did you said you alluded to that you started out doing like local football games. Is that what you started? And then the
I'll
word
be
just started
honest,
growing?
I'm very aggressive, and what I mean by that is I do research. I find out what festivals are coming into town, what outside events are going on. Reaching out to different local area like Main Street organization. Main Street is a nonprofit that are on mainly basically main streets. Rhode Island Avenue has one mainly. Columbia Heights. There's different kind of main streets on major streets like U Street and things like that in the DC area.
Mhm.
Well, knowing that they have festivals every year, knowing that they have outside events in the summertime and sometimes in the winter or fall or things like that, reaching out and being really aggressive, calling, sending them my capability statement, following up with emails. And like I said, being very attentive to, I sent an email last week. Let me follow up with them this week. If they tell me no, I'll call back in the next following week and say, I know you told me no this week, but are you, is it a maybe this week? And maybe I'll call you and let you know what we have going on. So then the next following week, I'm calling, I'm sure that maybe is, yes, you do need my services. And I'm sure you have an event coming up. And
Right.
most of the time, because we are very hungry and aggressive, people take heed to that. Some people can say it's annoying, but I have had some of the best events referred to me because I've been such a pest. So being very hungry and being very aggressive and following up, like I said, is definitely something you should do, because we are a business that no one knows about us right now, but they do know about the other local businesses. So they don't have to go after the work that we have to go after. We have to set the tone. We have to go out and actually get it on our own. So when we go out and get it on our own, once they find our name, they're like, hey, I used them at this event. They were the best. We loved their toilets. Their services was great, phenomenal. Now they remember us for the next event, and it's not as hard.
Yeah, and this industry is a very small industry, especially in this area. You have your big names that everybody else knows. I'm not going to mention them on our interview, but
Yeah,
you have
don't.
your big names and they're big companies. And so when the smaller companies come in, it's a threat to them, no matter how small you are, because it's not a big community of us. So,
and not only that, Ebony's forgetting to say we are the only African American woman-owned business in this area. So that's the, not only are we women, we're also fighting with the fact that we're minority owned, and the fact that this is a male predominantly business.
Yes.
So everybody in this business is a man. So you have to think we're fighting up against men that's been doing this for X amount of years. Family traditions has been.
And most of the women that are in the business, they're the face of their husband's business.
Absolutely.
Meet certain goals. They're not really the business owners. Like, so when people meet us, they be like, no. So that's
they're like,
first assumption.
Yeah. So the first assumption is, well, who face? So who? What? So this is for your husband, and we're like,
It's for us. This is for us. Yeah. Yeah. Because they probably know, well, some of them might not even know the amount of work it takes, but then they see the amount of work it takes and they're like, what? But
no, they know the amount of work it takes, and they just cannot imagine two women doing it. So that's what, they're like, there's no way they're going around and cleaning out porta potties and delivering them on their own. There's no way these two women are doing this, and we're absolutely doing it.
Right, exactly. And you're doing it well. You're doing it well. So is your season busier in the summer than it is in the winter?
So now what we're doing is we Ebony and I have been taking this construction class, and what we've been doing is there's a lot of major construction going on in the DC area. So we do know by the summer, the end of the summer, the festival time will kind of die out until next summer. So we're setting foundations with other avenues such as construction companies, so that we can be on these winter projects and/or even some of these summer projects. And we've been actually getting a lot of good feedback. We've had a lot of construction firms, small and large, reach out to us. So we have some very promising contracts that are coming up, and it's been exciting. It's a little overwhelming. It's a little overwhelmed. Like, we're overwhelmed because we're like, how are we going to do it? But then we think, you know what, we'll get it done. So we're not going to worry about it. Let's get it, and then once we get it, we can stress about it later.
Right. We can worry about it after they already signed the contract, send the money, and then maybe if you have to hire, it's just you two. You guys don't hire out anybody else, or?
We have family members that we do use. We get sometimes
for transportation up to porta potty, especially when we have day jobs. Both of us have full time. I'm a manager at my job, and Jamie's like higher level at her job. So, we're working. So like today, while we're at work, we have workers that will transport the units where we need them to be. But that's kind of just started in the last couple of weeks because we've had so much work. We had to really find a way. We
literally just let go. Let's say that we were so hands-on, we were scared to let go. So we had to realize that we need manpower and we can't do it by ourselves. So the biggest thing for us was letting go. So we had to let go or bring people on board that we trust, that we can show the ropes to. We're still not 100% letting go, but we're allowing them to do the part that we've trained them to do. Ebony's son has been it's actually, like I said, family member. Ebony's son is helping my cousin deliver some porta potties for us.
Like tonight. And
like
I might
right
have
now.
To take a phone call. They're calling trying to find a location.
but we've been fortunate enough to have family members that we can use to do this with.
That we pay.
And that we pay. Yeah, they're not doing it for free, but we're comfortable enough that if we need to fuss at them, that we're not really, we can do it without saying, "Dad, we should have never said that to them."
Right. Because they're family, they're forgiving, right?
And I mean, sometimes they take it personal, but then they get over it because they know it's nothing to take personal.
Right. So when I asked you what made you start this business, that was just like, I mean, I still go back on that question, like porta potties. I mean, were you both like, you guys had this discussion before, like we need to start a business, let's do one together? I mean, how did that go ahead?
It was our Thelma and Louise trip. Everybody calls us Thelma and Louise. We're like my husband calls us thick as thieves. We're always together, and I was taking my son car to Houston where he's in school, and we drove. And it was one of those girl trips where I wasn't feeling so good. She wasn't feeling so good. Like kind of woman power. We have to do something to get our lives together, And we had 22 hours to think about it.
And being very real, it was more so I was going through a relationship issue, truthfully, and I'm going on, it's all about women. It's all about women. Forget the men. And, Ebony was just like her son. She was trying to adapt to the fact that she had a son going off to college. She had to let go.
Right.
Drive her son car down to his school. So it was like, you know what? We need this break. Let's go on this trip. Let's get our minds right. What can we do as we're driving? Like, what can we do? We need some extra money. I'm tired of always just being like, oh, I like my 9 to 5. And not that, we both love our jobs. We actually love what we do. But the thing is that, at some point, what else can we do to add another line? Another line of income. Eventually we want to be able to retire nice and not retire at 70 and 80 years old, where you find a lot of people when they retire, they have to retire at a later age. And most of the time it's at an age where they have illnesses and they can't really travel and do the things that you're supposed to do when you retire. And that's because they're retiring so late in their lives. And we just didn't want to do that. So we were thinking, what can we do? So as we're riding around asking this question to ourselves, guess what we see on every major highway, every street that we got off on and used the bathroom and went to the gas station and basically stopped at a restaurant and there's something being constructed next door, was a porta potty.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, what do you think about porta potty?
Yeah, exactly.
So it was like, soon as that, it was like a light bulb went off and we were like, oh yes, let's do porta potties. And then we were thinking, well, let's make ours different from others. Let's make our porta potty stand out where it's a woman's touch on it, because obviously everybody's impression of a porta potty is, I don't want to go to one.
But
No.
what we learned in this business, everybody uses a porta potty, whether they say they will not.
Yes.
Because you can't hold it for so long, you know.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Has been our selling point. I promise you, when you go in this bathroom,
you will not be disappointed.
You will not be disappointed. I mean, even to the point where we haven't really shared with a lot of people, but Sasha Obama used our toilet at Broccoli City Festival and continued to use our toilet. So that was kind of like,
and there was a trailer. There was a special trailer.
There was a luxury trailer next to our porta potty, and she constantly used ours instead of the luxury trailer. So that made me feel that everything and every touch that we put into this porta potty meant, and it actually stuck with what our brand was. We had women, you know, the with their little batons on, walking. No, I don't want to go to the porta potty. We're like, I promise you, if you go, I swear you will not be disappointed. They go to the bathroom, like, oh my God, there's lights in here, there's sinks and flushes, there's a mirror. They're like, oh,
a mirror, right?
So they're like, oh my God, this is beautiful. And of course, they come back and they see this luxury trailer sitting beside it, and they go to our porta potties. So that is the perception that we tried to set when we thought about this business. We were like, we're going to change the perception of people wanting to use porta potties. So we looked at it. We say, heck, what can we do? Well, there's not sinks in there. There's hand sanitizers. Well, most people like to wash their hands. I'm a germaphobe. So is Ebony. I want to wash my hands. I don't want to have to use hand sanitizer. No. And research shows that hand sanitizer is not even really sanitized. So
it's not good for you.
Yeah, let's find something else. Let's see if we can put a sink in there. Okay, we found the company that was able to design us a porta potty with a sink in it. The more and more we thought about it, it was like, well, what do you think about flushable units, where people doesn't have to look at what is in the toilet? Because that's another big thing about porta potties. You go use the bathroom and you see this big blue stuff in the toilet, and you're like, I don't know what's in there. I don't want to look at it.
Something's floating.
Other things just flowing around in the toilet, and you really don't want to look at that. So you're like, okay, well, what can we do to hide that? So there's the flushable units, which are just like airplane bathrooms. It flushes and you don't see it, and it's gone. It's out of sight, out of mind.
Right.
So that was another upscale. And then we thought, well, nobody wants to use the bathroom in the dark at night, especially during these festivals. What can we do to change that? Solar lights. We installed solar lights so that you don't have to have electricity. The light is being charged up by the sun. So by the time at night, by the nightfall, we can turn the solar light on, and boom, now you have lights. So it's definitely been piece by piece. What can we do to change the perception? So every unit we have has a light. Every unit we have has a sink, and majority of all of our
ADAs, except they don't normally come with.
Yeah, they don't normally come with lights, but that's not something we can install. And also, they're flushable. Majority of all of our units are flushable. So we have a different type of porta potty, unlike anyone else.
Wow. So being in this industry since for this short period of time, you still can answer this question. What are some lessons learned? Some things that you would definitely not do again. Like, I did that one time and I will never do that again.
Luckily we had the opportunity to sit down with our mentor before we even bought our first porta potty, and we sat down with him. And at that time, he was a minority and only minority in this business, in this area, so he wasn't fully ready to share everything at that point in time because we weren't really in business yet. But he did give us enough tips to move forward to the next level. And when we had that meeting, we told him, next time you see us, we're going to have our business license. We're going to be ready.
We're going to have, he basically gave us homework, and we did the homework. We completed everything he asked us to do. But what I will say, a lessons learned that I think that we're learning even just over the past weekend, tissue is a big thing.
Yeah,
we didn't realize how much tissue is used in a porta potty. So we're taking our little happy selves to Costco's and buying these big rolls of tissue. And sometimes we want to have Charmin, the soft, but we don't realize those tissues don't break down in porta potties. In fact, they clog up your toilets most of the time. And then buying tissue that's for your house is different from buying tissue for that type of bathroom. So Ebony was almost getting ready to cry because she was trying to figure out how is the tissue disappearing this quick.
I was like,
are they eating the tissue? I'm like, they're not eating the tissue. They're using the bathroom. You have to realize there's 50 people coming in and out of this toilet. And within 1 hour, I promise you not, we had 50 people go out of one toilet. Toilet. So she was amazed. She was like, I just don't understand. What are they doing? She was like, I just can't get out. So that was a lesson learned for us: buy commercial tissue and not the regular tissue that you get from your bathroom or that you would put in your bathroom. Because there's a difference. The rolls last longer. We're spending more money, on tissue. We didn't realize tissue would be a big cost, and it really is. So that's one thing of a lessons learned that we're finding now, that we're networking with vendors so that we can get an account so that we can order tissue. That is one of our biggest costs right now.
That's hilarious. But those are things that you wouldn't know unless you're doing it. We
learn things every day, but every day is something different that we learn or figure out how we can do different or better, or just how to make our business run smoothly. But I think that should be the start of any new business or any startup business. As long as you're learning from those lessons, then you're good. Just don't keep doing the same thing over and over again.
So we just assume that, we buy tissue from Costco's, and one of them, I think we were doing MS, but again, it wasn't as heavy use as this past weekend. And this weekend really showed us how much tissue cost. We probably spent about $300 on tissue this weekend. So it's lessons learned. That was one thing that our mentor told us about, but we kind of overlooked it. He said, make sure tissue is a big cost. Make sure you count your tissue. Make sure you take your tissue out your bathrooms. And guess what? We didn't listen to him. So here we are spending $300 on tissue.
But you won't make that mistake anymore.
Absolutely not.
Right. So in regards to just skills, it sounds like even from before you guys started this business, you had a lot of skill sets that are effective in being your own entrepreneur. What are some other skills that you can think of that you have utilized in this business that have that you can share with others that they may need to develop or grow, so they can become whatever it is they want to in regards to their business or reach their goals? So could you talk about some skills?
I would honestly say research is a very important factor. You should research, and research some more. Reach out to people that are in your industry or what industry you're trying to venture out into. You may find people that will be eager to give you information, and then you find people that may not, and that's okay, because sometimes they feel that you're competition. And that's typically what you get when you are trying to start a business such as someone else's. But you find people that will be willing to give you that information. So the big thing is research.
And know your business.
And know your business.
And that goes with research. Know your business. Take classes. Like Jamie said, we're right now in the construction. We can't say the name of the person. We're in the construction
class.
Subcontracting construction class. It's a 10-week course. We go once a week for 3 hours for 10 weeks. And again,
and when we finish, guess what? We have a graduation that we have. We're also 100% guaranteed contracts once we finish the class. Also, in the early part of the year, I went to a conference called the WET conference, which is for waste management. So there was a lot of things that I learned at that conference that I necessarily wouldn't have learned if I didn't go. Waste management is much bigger than just the portable pot industry. There's a whole lot of other things that goes into it. So going to those conferences,
join your industry
membership, investing in that conference. I don't care if it's $50 to $1,500. Sometimes you may not be able to go out to eat for the next 2 months, or you may have to cut back on some shopping, or whatever it is that you have to cut back on. Make that sacrifice for your business, because as you can see right now, look at me, my eyebrows are not done, my hair's all over my head, but guess what, in the future, in a year or two, I won't look like this on camera. No lipstick, no makeup, no nothing, but it's okay. As women, don't worry about that. Worry about what your goal is. If your goal is to be successful in whatever that is, put your all into it. It's important. I know sometimes you may miss out on the happening party or the concert you want to go to. Guess what? In the next couple of months, or let's just say in the next year, you'll be able to go to that without a problem. So,
and I will say, Jamie made me think of something about your business and your industry. Where most of our business is festivals, construction, it's a man-dominated field. So for us to walk in a meeting all dressed up, not I'm dressed appropriately, but not all dressed up, it puts you in a different dynamic with a man and the man dominant. So you need to think about those type of things. I think most guys see a pretty face with us, and then it's not until we have a conversation do they start to take us seriously. Right. So when we show up just on the regular, no makeup, no hair done, that kind of opens the door a little more to have a business conversation first. Mm-hmm. Versus us showing up in heels and lip gloss, and and it really shouldn't be that way, and we don't do it intentionally, but I've noticed that sometimes you have to play the game to get to where you need to be, and if it's going to benefit you to not be so dressed up, and to fit in a little bit with the industry, then to get that networking going and those type of things, then it's worth it. So just know your business, know your network, know the people that you have to deal with, know what's appropriate and appropriate, those kind of things.
And I also would say read books, like find books that are catered to your business. Like if you want to be a makeup artist, find those top makeup artists, read. I'm sure most of them write books. Read those books, find out what works for you. You have to be a self-motivator. Like you have to motivate yourself, because sometimes business gets hard and you're like, what sign up for? And then you're like, oh my God, what did I do? I'm tired. I don't want to do this anymore. But guess what? You have to self-motivate yourself. So finding self-motivated books that could kind of help you in the long run when it comes to, reading and motivating yourself. So.
Yeah, you guys made a lot of good points, especially the one about, being taken seriously. And it's unfortunate, like you said, Ebony, that sometimes you have to dress a certain way or downplaying whatever your features are in order for people to take you seriously of the opposite gender. And that's just unfortunate, but you just notice those things, and once you notice those things, you just continue on. I mean, I'm sure when they have the banquets and things like that, you show up appropriately and you dress for the occasion. But if you're going delivering a party, you're not going to be dressing up with lip gloss and all that stuff like that, unless that is your value proposition. There's some people. Right, you're right. And that's a good point that you made. You really need to research and know your industry. And all the skills that you said were really, really key. Oh, well, we'll wait for them to come back on and they'll dial back in. But is there anyone that has any questions that you can type up in the comment box below? And I'll make sure to share that with them. If you have any questions, I'll take questions now. Maybe just about, I know I asked a lot of questions, but some people, you may have another take on this. So if you do, feel free to type in your questions in the comments below, and I'll make sure they get asked or they get seen. So in regards to this, I'll just talk a little bit now and wait till they come back on. But just in regards to doing business, I know I've interviewed a lot of women about starting their own business, and you may have seen some of my interviews on Inspired to Action and really felt that they have, I guess, maybe charted you towards your goals. That's what the point of this whole interview is. Oh, here they are. They're back on now. Hold on, please. So I'm hoping that you get the gist of the interviews. Hello? We're going to work out. We do have a question, though. So I'll ask you, since you can hear me, you can start being prepared. You can hear me, right? Okay. So someone wants to know from Facebook, what type of funding source or seed money do you use? So that will be the question. Hopefully we'll get the answer whenever. This is a part of doing it live, and it's all good. I thank you guys for continuing to stay on and enduring this. So we'll find out the answer in a few minutes. Oftentimes, I know from this personal experience, a lot of times people will either initially use their own money to fund some of this, and then also contact friends, relatives, other people in business to ask for them to invest in their business. I know that Jamie and Ebony have a capability statement, so they have a lot of things in line. So when it's time to ask for money, that they can get that. I know that, and just having a conversation with Jamie and Ebony, they were saying a lot of times it's hard to get a business loan when you haven't been in business for a long period of time. Business banks usually want you to be in business for over a year before they will allow lending to happen. So I'm not exactly all the income streams that they have received from other people, but I'm sure they'll be able to answer that. But I know that there are some people that will, especially female-owned, you'll form relationships with other people, and people are so intrigued with your business, they will be more apt to invest. Especially, female, minority-owned business, sometimes that happens. So it's just sometimes about creating the right connections with people, meeting the right people, and I'm sure that that may be somewhat of the answer that they may give. Hopefully, they'll be able to be back on. I'm trying to do what I can on my end. So,
Can you hear me now?
yes, I can.
Okay, you gotta block the mic.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, good.
So yes, to answer your question, I'm so sorry. Please forgive us. We're having technical difficulties over here. But we've basically used our own money to start our business. Like we pulled out our own savings account. We stopped going out. We stopped going out to eat. As you can see, we stopped getting our hair done. We cut a lot of things out just to make things work for us. We haven't gotten a loan yet, but we're working on getting one.
Yeah, my husband actually helps. He's in the construction business, so he helps us a little when we need it, but invest in our company. But other than that, yeah, we're pretty much self-sufficient right now. We do need the loan. It's hard to get those loans when you haven't had a business for more than, really they want more than a year, but less than a year is definitely like.
So new business to any a bank is 3 years, and obviously that's not a new business, because if you start a business, your business is the day that you start. That's a new business. 3 years from now, who's to say if I'm still going to be in business if I have no capital? So the biggest thing is to do not, and I stress this, do not take the first loan that's offered to you, because we've had people offer us loans. And what I mean by that, there's a lot of companies out here that will offer you a loan, but they take money out of your account almost every day. So because of that, the biggest issue with that is that you don't even realize how much money you're paying back. And if you could afford to do that, then you wouldn't need the loan from them.
Right.
So it's, do not take the first loan. Be very cautious of who you get loans from. Make sure they cater to small business. Make sure the interest rate is right for you. Make sure you're not paying $30,000 back on $10,000. And I would say try to do as much as you can on your own. Do fundraisers, GoFundMes. I'm not sure what you can to generate income, but do as much as you can on your own. It's really hard to go into debt in an early part of your company, because it's hard to come out of debt. Debt is good debt, but you don't want to be so far gone in debt that you don't even want to do the business anymore.
Right. You don't want to leverage too much. And also, for the person answering that question, I know that PayPal and Square Up, they have what is called a working capital. And if you have been doing business transactions for, I think, 3 months or more, you can apply for working capital. So that's something that you might want to, if people
just told us about that. Oh, so I'm sorry about this light.
But you told us actually about that, the PayPal and Square Up and things like that. But here's the thing: if you're not processing credit card payments,
processing transactions,
what you're bringing in. So you want to ensure that whatever you're bringing in, if you are being credit cards and you want to use those types of people that you're using.
Right.
You're using that app. So we've been fortunate to use it, but for other viewers.
Right. Yeah, you have to make sure that you're using your your PayPal account, and that you're doing those credit card transactions, because the more and more transactions that they see, the more and more that says to them, well, this person is doing business. We can loan them this amount of money and still be, because what they do is they once you do transactions after they've already given you the loan, they take a percentage from that until it's paid off.
Okay.
Until it's paid off. So that's another option. We got some more questions. Someone else wanted to know, how did you identify a mentor in this industry? How did you go about doing that?
So funny, when we were doing research on the business, I was talking to a lady who I was reaching out to find out about solution for the toilet, and she asked where I was, and I told her I was in the DC area. She said, well, I want to introduce you to someone just like you who started out in the business. She mentioned she met him at the conference that I went to, which was the WET conference over 10 years ago. And he is, most people are not as friendly as he is, but he will be glad to want to share some information with you. So I was like, okay, fine. So she gave me his number, and I called, and he didn't answer the phone. And then I called again, and he finally picked the phone up, and he said, well, I'll call you back. Call me next week sometime. So then I called him again next week, and I realized the times I was calling him was around his busiest time. So I felt like he was brushing me off all the time, but it really wasn't, because he really starts work at like 5 o'clock in the morning. Mm-hmm. And so by 8:30, 9 o'clock, when I'm thinking it's appropriate time to call, he's already like in lunch mode. So I picked up the phone at 6 o'clock in the morning, where I knew he had started business, and he was eager to sit and talk. We set up a time to do dinner. I met him and his beautiful wife. We went to this meeting, and we really thought it would probably be like an hour, maybe 2 hour meeting, not that long of a meeting. It ended up being literally until they had to literally say it's time to go. Like the restaurant people got him and said, listen, we're closing. You guys are welcome to stay out there, but you have to go. So it was we found him just again doing research. So it goes back to doing research, making sure that you're doing research about your business. You find people that are willing and eager to talk to you. Again, like I said, everyone is not going to be as friendly as our mentor we just looked up. Again, with him, he even says to us all the time, I don't necessarily do this with everybody, but I see something different in you. So he was willing and eager to share that information with us, which made it much more easier for us to want to do more.
And we did what we said we were going to do when we told him that, we told him the next time we talk, we're going to have our business license. We're going to be ready to go. The next time we talk to you, we want to go to the next level, because we knew he wasn't telling us everything, how serious we were. And then the next meeting, he just kind of let it all out on us. He kind of gave us a lot of information. So
that's
now
good.
I think Jamie's on the phone with him every morning, probably from 5:30 to 6 in the morning. So he's not just a every now and again mentor. He's there for us almost every day.
That's awesome.
We partner with him on a lot of different things. He's very he teaches us lessons learned, and he also teaches us about some things you have to learn on your own. So that's kind of what's been happening lately, just learning on our own, finding out what works for us. Just because it didn't work for him doesn't mean that it's not going to work for us. Right. So like mentoring. And it's okay to have more than one. You should have more than one mentor. And it's important to have more than one, because what you don't pick from the other one, you pick from you might be able to get from your other mentor.
Right. So we have another question. This person says, congratulations to you both. They want to know, how many units do you currently have?
47.
Wow.
We started off with 1 in July, and we now have 47.
And how I mean, I don't want to go too in depth, but that's a lot to maintain.
It's a lot to get off the truck when they came brand new. We had no idea. We just ordered them, and then when they came, it's like, oh, what are we
going to order? You know what? And so here's funny story, true story. Moment. We ordered these porta potties without not a place to put.
That was my next question. Where do you put all these?
So where do you put these toilets, right? So we ordered these toilets, and we were like, okay, well, now that we have this toilets, we're just going to put them in. And Ebony's Ebony grandmother had a house over on Gale Street. And this is in DC, in the middle of the hood, just so you guys know, if anybody knows what Gale Street is. But either it's behind the McDonald's, and We were like, yeah, we're going to put our porta potties over there, but we didn't realize it. So we looked at it. I was like, oh, it's big enough. We can put our porta potties back there. Lo and behold, we realized you can only probably put about maybe 20 back there.
Maybe 25.
Maybe 25. And then on top of that, the neighbors, when they saw porta potties, they start complaining.
Oh, how they were complaining.
And then
they were like, oh my God, it's a hazard to the neighborhood.
Oh my goodness.
Not knowing they were brand new porta potties.
They were just empty. We're just sitting them here for a little bit.
Yeah, it was hilarious. Like you would be amazed at the thing that how people were just like just.
We end up getting business from them being there though. DC Grid, right? Is it DC Grid?
Yeah, we end up so DC Grid is a company that installs solar lights. Okay. There's a program in DC that most
like an apprenticeship program that they use.
Yeah, and DC residents actually get a kickback on their taxes for going to solar panel.
Oh, okay.
So they saw our porta potties over there, and guess what? They said, we need a porta potty on this day. Can you come? We delivered a porta potty. They loved it. They took a picture of it. I think we even sent it to
them. And then when we saw they had solar lights, they were like, like they couldn't believe it.
It was like you just bought into their system. That's great.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So where do you keep them now? Where do you keep them now? Units you have? That was a great question. Any other questions that any other viewers have? Because it seems like we're experiencing a lot of rain here in the DMV area. It's been raining for like over a week. So that might be, and they are en route to another job when they're taking their time to do this interview en route to another job. So there might be the reason why there's technical difficulty there too. Are there any other questions that anyone want to ask? Also, this video will be up on my YouTube channel, which is Inspired into Action. And also it will be on my website, www.inspiredintoaction.com. So if you have any questions or comments or want to get in touch with the ladies from Mortell Industries, you can do that as well from those two venues. I think we're going to try to get back on again.
You see us? I'm so sorry. We got the worst.
I know. No worries. I was just telling the audience that, we have been experiencing a lot of challenging weather here. And, technical difficulties. I was saying that you guys are actually en routes from one job to another job. So you're taking your time out of your schedule to do this. So I really appreciate it.
And we're sitting outside of Walmart.
Right. And they're sitting in a parking lot doing this interview. So, I just really thank you guys for taking the time. If people want to get in contact with you, how do they get in contact with you right now?
So you can call either our office number, which is 202-600-7688, or you can email me or Ebony. Mine is jmorton, JMORTON, at Mortell, MORTELL -industries with the IES.com. Ebony, same thing, but it's Terrell, TERRELL. We're also on social media. We have a Instagram page. It's Mortell, MORTELL .est.2017. On Facebook, we have a Facebook page. Mortell Industries is our Facebook page name. You can reach out to me on my personal social media. Jamie Moran is my name, both on Facebook and Instagram. Ebony's is Ebony's Elder Terrell. So we will be more than happy to share with our experiences, anything that we can pretty much provide you guys or assist in any way. Just let us know. We are all about women empowerment. We are all about empowering women, making sure that we take the opportunity and time to set aside for another small business or new entrepreneur and give back, because that's how we became where we are right now in this where we are as far as in life and business right now. And even in our professionalism, in our careers, like I wouldn't be where I am now if I didn't have a mentor there or someone to show me the ropes or help me get to that next level. So anything that we can do to help, let me know.
And I'm just thinking, your story is so, both of you guys, your story is so encouraging, because you have families, you have other things you have to do, but like you said, you're taking your time out to do what you're passionate about. And at the end of the day, I think that's awesome. And that's why I was so excited to interview you guys and to get your story out there in front of all the Inspiring to Action viewers.
Well, for Tara, for you to even acknowledge that about us, that's a blessing for us, and for us to be on here to be able to talk to your audience and hopefully encourage your audience, encourage more women and men to support their women in business. Watching things like this may change the perspective of a man to see a woman or his wife in a different light. Like, as a businesswoman, respect her as a business owner, and the fact that she can hold her own in certain instances as far as business is concerned. It's not about being that independent woman that label that people want to put on us. It's just being in a society where we can do it too, and we would just like to do it alongside of you, not ahead of you, not behind you.
Any last words you want to say?
I just want to say to all the women and men out there, just stay encouraged. Just keep pushing, and if something doesn't necessarily go right, that doesn't mean it's wrong. That just means you need to find another way to do it. And that's what we've been doing.
And guess what? It's okay to make mistakes. Everyone makes a mistake. 1, 2, 3, 30. It's okay, but guess what? You learn from them. Don't be afraid to step out on faith. Don't be afraid to ask questions and ask for help.
Important. That's important.
Yes. Ask questions
and asking for help.
And be able to communicate very well. You need to be able to communicate your thoughts. Don't ever be afraid to tell people what you feel and how you feel. The one thing Ebony and I, as women, that we struggle with is that we didn't know how to communicate and tell people how we feel. And now we're like, I don't know, we're going to say exactly how we feel and mean what we say and do what we say. So don't be afraid to do that and understand that no way is always the right way. You have to find what works for you. So it's very important to do that, and always find a network. Always try to continue to grow with yourself. Find a networking of men or women or any kind of network that constantly keeps inspiring you, constantly keeps pushing you. And like I said, if you're the smartest person in the group, please get out of it and find you another one.
That was so good. I thank you guys again for taking your time out to talk with the listeners and to share your story on this partner.
I'm so sorry. We forgot to say thank you. Thank you. We appreciate you giving us the opportunity to come onto your podcast. This has been wonderful. Again, you see how we look and we were like, oh my God, we don't we don't know how.
It doesn't matter. I'm all about content. I just, at the end of the day, I don't want people to come back and say, Tara, you have me looking like that. Like, no, but it's all about helping people. It's not about how you look. It's about how we can help.
Exactly.
Exactly. So thank you guys so much. I look forward to meeting you guys in person someday.
Absolutely. We have to go out and have dinner when we have time.
Most definitely. And just thank you for the Inspiring into Action listeners out there. Thank you for joining us. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment in the places like we're on YouTube, on my website, Inspiring into Action, Facebook, Instagram. Comment, ask questions. I'll make sure that the ladies get your comments and questions so that they can answer appropriately. And if you're interested, if you're a business owner and you or have an event, please check them out, look them up, hire them, let's utilize ourselves. Let's utilize ourselves. Go ahead. What do you say?
I said, we'll send you pictures of everything for anyone that wants.
Hey, I'm all about helping people to get to the next level. Always. So thank you again, ladies, and have a good evening.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.